I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very wet at the moment. Well, I'm not. I'm inside, but we've had just over 57 mils of rain, and it's still thundering and raining outside. So.
Are you down the southeast or in New South?
New South Wales. Yeah.
Okay. How's the land looking out there? Is it parched? Is it?
Oh God, no! It's fantastic because we've had lots of rain.
Oh, good.
6 months, but hot weather dries it off, and we have another rain and it greens it up. So yeah. But next 5 years it'll probably be drought, so we're lapping it up.
Yeah, you got to make hay while the sun shines, mate.
You do. Have you been finding more tigers? Have you?
Oh, look, I do my best. Not always to everyone's appeal, but that's okay. I don't really do it to please everyone. I just do it to please those that appreciate it. So.
Well, I'll appreciate it if you find some. What have you got up your sleeve?
Nothing at the moment. I do a thing on our YouTube channel now where I interview witnesses, and they tell me their story, whether it's new or old. It doesn't really matter.
Yep.
And you came to mind as having some pretty awesome stories from what we've spoke about in the past, and I was wondering if you'd be willing to recount those for me at some stage and me record it. I'm more than happy to keep your identity out of it, and the exact locations out of it, if that makes you feel better, sort of thing, about it, all that.
Yeah, it doesn't worry me, but worries other people. But yeah.
Sure. But yeah, I was wondering if we could maybe recap on your awesome adventures, and you could grant me permission to do that, I suppose.
I suppose I could. I'd have to stop and think about it again to remember what I remembered. Yeah.
Have you got time to do that now, or would you prefer to do it another time?
Oh, no, I suppose now's as good a time as any, but I've got to get my brain into gear, yeah? Rightio.
All right. So, I'm very appreciative of you coming forward with your info. I know it's been a while since we've spoken. Now, I first met you, I think it was 2016, is that right?
I can't remember, but it was a few years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago. It was before we released our doco, and that was 2017, so it was either 15 or 16. Could have even been 2015, actually.
Oh, well.
Yes. You came to me sort of third hand from another fella who knew a fella who knew you. So it was all a bit of a mishmash, but I got to you in the end. And now you had a sighting when you were a young lass. I think it was in the 1960s, wasn't it? Early 60s?
Yeah, very early 60s it would have been, or late 50s.
Okay.
And I was walking along in front of a mob of sheep along a fence line that had been bulldozed, and the heap of timber that was bulldozed up was it was about 20 or so metres in from the fence, and I had a red collie dog walking with me, which took absolutely no notice or didn't see this animal, and my brother was walking behind the sheep, and I don't think he saw it. I had a brilliant view of it, and I just thought, that's a funny animal. It's got a rounded rump and a tail like a cat, and a different head, and all I did was get laughed at and told I'd seen a mangy fox, and I knew I had it, but now I know what I've seen.
So when you saw that, what time of day was it?
I think it was in the mid-afternoon.
Okay, and what sort of distance away from you was it?
Oh, probably about 40 or 50 metres.
Yep. And do you recall the colour of the animal in particular?
Oh, just, it wasn't, that's why they told me it was a fox, and I said it was the wrong colour. It was a browny, grey, dingo-y, grey colour, but I don't remember seeing stripes across its rump, but that could have been just because I didn't know what I was looking at, and it was that grey colour, blending in with it.
Yeah. Okay. What angle were you at to the animal? Were you behind it? Was it side on?
No, it cut straight across in front of me at right angles to me. I was walking straight towards it.
Okay.
As it cut across in front of me.
How many seconds do you reckon you got a glimpse of it for?
Oh, I don't know. It wasn't in a hurry. It looked at me, took absolutely no notice, and however long it takes to walk 20 metres or so, but it came through the fence from the other side and went over the pile of timber and just looked at me and ambled off. It didn't take any notice of me. It wasn't in a hurry or wild or anything.
Wasn't startled by you being there?
No, couldn't care less.
Now, this was in southeast South Australia, right?
Yes, south of Kingston.
Okay. Now, you'd be aware, no doubt, of the large amount of sightings of thylacine-like animals that have occurred over the years, and in particular that era there was a lot of land clearing going on, and I think that may have had a lot to do with the sightings occurring between the 50s and the 60s. Now, you also told me a story which fascinated me for a very long time that sadly we never got any result on, about your father. Could you enlighten me about that?
Apparently he shot two of them a little bit further south from the paddock where I was, probably 20 kilometres south.
Right.
Skunned them and tanned the skins. My son saw them, but I was told, he was the one who told me I'd only seen a mangy fox and laughed at me. And the young fella who was with him came and told me afterwards it wasn't a mangy fox I saw, that's what it was. But we have no information about that tan skin. It's going to be a big mystery that we're not allowed to know about, I think.
Yeah, okay. So your son had actually seen those pelts, yeah?
Yep, he saw one of them anyway, even if he didn't see two.
That's amazing.
Yes. And he'll stand up and tell you, he's adamant, he knows what he saw, because he and Dad got on really well when I was only a girl, so I wasn't allowed to know those secret men's business things.
Yeah, okay, so your dad was a little bit one-eyed like that?
Very much so.
Yeah. Now, I've actually spoken to your son about that, and I'm quite confident that he's not telling me any porcupines, and he relayed the story to me almost identical to the way you told me about it from what he told you, sort of thing as well. So
very good. Adds up.
Yeah, and so when he saw them, he was like a young man, I suppose, wasn't he, in his late teens?
No, he was a big boy,
Yeah.
Yeah, early teens or, whatever. I don't know, I can't remember. But this was a big secret. I wasn't told straight away. He only told me later on because we got on really well.
Yeah.
But my husband's uncle used to have a paddock north of Kingston.
Right.
And he said there was a whole mob of them lived there in like a little cliff. They had burrows into the cliff.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just common knowledge in their family, but they didn't tell everybody.
Okay. So that was in the limestone?
Limestone cliffs, but it was north of Kingston, not south.
Yeah, I think we spoke about that actually. I just never got around to getting out to that property because it went under Mr. Brinkworth's holdings at one point, I believe. Is that right?
Probably did. He wouldn't have had it for a long time, but yeah, it was up north of Kingston, and that's right.
Yeah. Now, as far as other stories go, there was a couple of stories from New South Wales that you mentioned. Are you able to talk about those, or is that out of bounds?
So long as my name doesn't go anywhere near them. Yes, a friend of mine, she saw one north of Cobar eating a dead roo on the side of the road. They didn't know what it was. And then her mother-in-law actually shot one and dragged it away and buried it so nobody could identify it, because they didn't want people running around their paddocks looking for animals. And one of her sons chased one on a bike and didn't catch it.
Okay. That was in that same region?
Yeah, north of Cobar. That gives you a fair bit of scope.
Yeah, between Cobar and the Darling River sort of thing.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yep. No, that's fair enough.
Don't put my name anywhere.
No, I haven't mentioned your... Yeah, no, that's fine. I'll keep your name out of it completely.
You see, there's Mount Gundabooka is there, and there's the Rampant Range, and there's lots of hills, and down about 30 k's out of Cobar there's a range where there's lots of caves and things. There's lots of stuff down there that people don't get told about, I think. So
yeah, and that keeps things in a safe kind of place.
Yeah, because people look after them, most of them.
Yeah.
They don't want people running around their paddock looking for animals and shooting them.
Sure.
They'll preserve. Most people will preserve them. This one family I know doesn't, but get rid of it so no one can get there. But anyway.
Yeah. I think you told me they accidentally shot that when they didn't know what it was until after they went to retrieve it.
No, she didn't.
No, they thought it was a dingo or something.
Yeah, she didn't know what it was, so she shot it.
Yep. Which is the one thing you don't know. When you don't know what it is, you don't shoot when it comes to guns.
Well, when it's eating one of your sheep, you change your mind and shoot it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. But yeah, when I speak to hunters, the golden rule is, if you don't know what it is, you don't shoot it, basically.
No, that's right.
And I've spoken to at least 4 or 5 hunters that have had thylacines in their scope.
Yep.
And not pulled the trigger because they couldn't ID it and say what it definitely was. And out of them, I suppose 2 or 3 did know what it was and didn't pull the trigger because they were just in awe and didn't want to destroy such an amazing animal. So kudos to them.
Yes, well, the quicker they get the idea that they're not extinct and that they haven't died out and they were on the mainland, the happier I'll be.
Yeah, look, you and me both. It's just a shame we never got to vindicate you with your father's pelts that have disappeared into the ether somewhere.
Yeah, well, the nephew who's supposed to have them, you won't have a hope in hell of getting them from him.
Nah.
Still got them.
Yeah. No, some family secrets stay family secrets, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, the moths could have got them and eaten them and they could have chucked them out, but, that's the story I got, that they chucked stuff out and they gave me a bit of leather and that was a load of rubbish because it was well-tanned leather, because Dad used to tan leather with wobble bark and he wouldn't have mucked up.
Yeah, he would have known what he was doing, yeah.
Oh, he did. He was a good tanner. But anyway, when they don't want me to know, they don't want me to know.
Yeah, that's a shame. But anyway, we persevere instead, don't we?
We do, yes.
So yeah, I had a couple of photos last year that were a little bit ambiguous. One that I was quite adamant wasn't ambiguous, and that was of a joey. That was of a baby.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it's on our YouTube channel. I don't know that you get on the computer much.
No, I don't do. I'm not much good on the computer and all that stuff anyway, and this mechanical stuff is not good.
I'd actually lost your phone number because my old phone died, so I contacted your daughter-in-law and she gave me your number so I could give you a ring today and have a chat to you. But what I'll do is I'll actually text you the photo of the baby. And
I'd love that.
You can have a look, alright, since you're not a computer person.
No, I'm not.
It's from behind. A lot of people were saying it's a cat, but it's got leathery, smooth, hairless rear feet on the sole. There's no hair on it. It's absolutely not a cat.
No.
It's got 4 legs. It's not a quoll. It's not a devil. There's no foxes in Tassie. So we were really running out of options, but yeah, the armchair experts were quite adamant it was a cat, so that kind of infuriated me a bit because it physically cannot be a cat. It's impossible for it to be a cat. There's enough features there in the photograph to eliminate cat, so the fact that so many went with that sort of made me see red for a little while, I suppose, but not to worry.
No, but no, I saw an animal up here once and the back end of it disappeared into a 2-foot high grass. It was miles too big to be a cat.
Yep.
It was bigger than, and it wasn't a dog. And it was more a foxy size. It wasn't a fox. I know my animals. I live with animals, always have lived and liked animals. Yeah,
Yeah, okay. When was that?
Sorry?
When was that?
Oh, a few years ago.
Okay.
Probably 10 years ago. And the same day I went along the same creek, and a pig with a mob of baby piglets ran out from under a little bush and out ran a fluffy ginger cat with them. I ran Rowan, he saw the skin, and proceeding to do reshooting and everything, and my boys hunters, and they say they're hunters, but Rowan preserves things. He looks after things. He got deer and koalas and goodness knows what down on the place at Kingston, and nobody dare touch them.
Sure.
But he said when he goes out, been out reshooting, he has seen cats living with pigs before. He said it's nice and warm. The mother pig gets in there with all the babies, and they're all warm.
That's unreal.
In the middle of winter, because it freezes up here in the middle of most winters.
Yeah, it gets very cold in Central Australia during winter.
Yeah. Sounds fascinating. People look at me and think I'm wacky, but I don't care.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense, that they could get adopted, so...
It's a big family until they're big enough to eat them.
Yeah. Cohabitation of ferals. It's happened in the burbs many times.
Well, I've seen a fella actually who used where I live now, and his sheepdog and a fox playing on the side of the road.
There you go.
Yeah, best friends. So it's not unusual. It mightn't be common, but it happens.
Yeah, well, animals don't seem to have the prejudices that humans have, I suppose.
No, good on them.
I trust myself with my dog a lot more than I do with a lot of people I know, I can tell you.
I can understand that. I agree with you.
Yeah. All right, well, look, that's fantastic. If you do come across any unusual prints or kangaroos with their heads missing, do take a photo and let me know, won't you?
Oh, I definitely will, yes.
Because that is common.
Yeah, it is, right. I've always got my eyes open for something that's different. Don't worry.
All right, no worries. Well, look, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you just touching base with me on that again. I'll edit out your name at the beginning so no one knows who you are. I'll just change your name to Jane Doe or something, and we'll keep your identity safe that way, all right?
Thank you very much.
That's all right. Awesome. Lovely to talk to you, and keep looking after the land. I know you do a good job.
I hope so. Thank you very much. Good to talk to you. Bye.
All right. Cheers. Bye-bye.